Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Gray Area Podcast. My name is Giuseppe, joined alongside Terrance.
Yes,
There he
sir.
is. There he is.
There we go.
How you feeling, brother?
You know what? Oh, look at us being so kind to each other.
That's how we do.
No, man. I'll be completely honest. Is this a safe space?
I won't tell anyone whatever you tell me here, so it's a safe space.
Long as you keep it between us. No, man. I'm like, you ever have one of those days where you wake up and everything feels like it's gonna be great, it just feels like it's gonna be good, right? Like everything's aligned, like it just feels good, and then you get into an argument with your girl.
Yeah, that arguments with girlfriends bring me down more than anything in my life, like easily. Unless it like, unless it was like someone actually died. Those arguments with girlfriends bring me down more than anything.
And you know, we got into a little tiff this morning or whatever the case may be. You know, whatever, it happens, right? But today was one of the days I realized it's draining. It like really drains you. And I mean, obviously it happens, right? You're in a relationship. Every day is not gonna be a perfect day.
Okay, you're gonna fight, man. Guaranteed.
Oh my God, though. Like when you think about how much energy you put into, like, today I came to the conclusion. I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do this anymore. Like I'm not gonna fight anymore.
No more fights. She wants you to fight. You're like, sorry, babe.
I'm just not. I sent her a text, like, you know, like she had something to do early in the morning or whatever. So it was through text, which is probably one of the worst ones, right? When you're arguing through text, because now it's just
massively long text.
Now it's just there. Like, so here's the thing: it's either too long where you're looking at it and it's like, damn, like I got to read all this, or it's very short and you know she's like really upset because now she's short.
When there's nothing there, you're like, oh no, that's that serious. We got to that point, huh?
And it's just like, you know, we had one of those days, and you know what? I came and I bit the bullet, and you know, I looked at it from her point of view, and I was like, you know what? You're right. But then it carried over into something else, and I'm just like, all right, this is just
Terrance,
this is just not the day.
See, you're saying, oh, like I don't want to get in arguments anymore, but I think most people have thought that in relationships, and it's just impossible to do, right? Because you're like, you know what, moving forward, I will just it doesn't work. You try to apologize first, then she'll get mad because she thinks you're not sincere. You know?
Well, you gotta apologize only if you like really mean it. Like I'm heavy on not apologizing if I don't mean it, or if I don't get why I'm apologizing, then I'm not gonna apologize.
I mean, have you ever been in a fight that's lasted, like it's gone to the next day, and you're like, you know what?
No,
and you wake up and you're just like, this is dumb. If I just apologize, we can move on.
We never do that. I can honestly say that we never let it spill over. Whatever the issue is,
it's not good.
We deal with it.
But
yeah, I recommend that for anybody, you know, dating. If you're in a relationship and you get into whatever the hell you guys get into, deal with it that day if you can, because some issues are obviously bigger than the day. If you can deal with it that day, please don't go to sleep angry, because you know what happens. You wake up the next day and you're still upset about it. It just, again, it drains you. It drains everything out of you. But besides that, it's been a good day, right?
I mean, listen, you just got back from the mountains. You went on vacation, so I'm sad. I was going to ask you about that, but I'm sad to hear like the day.
Poconos were great. You know, we recorded the last episode. I was in the Poconos. Poconos were great. You know, I enjoyed a lot of the snow. I didn't enjoy shoveling it, but
no one really enjoys it. So
right, it is what it is, you know. So just got to take care of it however you can.
Terrance, I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna take your mind right off it right here. You ready for this? Now you gotta think about this. I'm gonna say something you might not think it's crazy, but you gotta think about it. Okay, the order of the alphabet, you know, A, B, C, all the way through Z. There's no reason for it. Just think about that.
What you're saying doesn't make sense, sir.
I mean, it does, right? Because the order of numbers is just math. It's just how it works. Like you know, 1 and then 2, 3. It has to be that way. But the order of our alphabet is completely fictional. Like the letters are important. But if they were in any other order, it'd be the exact same thing. Nothing would change. We just
it's
know
because
them
it
in that
rhymes. It becomes it rhymes, and there's a rhythm.
Well, not necessarily though, because we've just created. I mean, the only reason it really has an order though is so we can remember them, right?
Exactly. We remember things in a pattern.
But there's no real reason for it. I'm saying, like, if you think about it, like, you could actually put them in any order, and it's still the alphabet. You know,
I can't really go A G P Q L O.
I mean, you could though. If I disorganized them right now, if that's a real word, if I changed the order of them, right, and then I told you, and I made up a new song, eventually, me and you could learn that perfectly. And
you're gonna recreate.
I mean, you could.
That's like you trying to recreate Happy Birthday. Like you can't
listen, Terrance.
Besides Stevie Wonder,
listen.
There's no one else that can make another Happy Birthday song.
For years, people always said, "Oh, the black version of Happy Birthday is so much better," but no one would ever sing it to me, Terrance. Finally, a few years ago, someone sang it. It's way better. We should all be using that version. The regular Happy Birthday is the lamest thing ever. The black Happy Birthday, that's just lit. I don't know why people are doing that more. I love that. That's something white people haven't stolen, by the way. Everything white people steal from black people, we didn't steal Happy Birthday from them.
Wait, you can't, because that's one thing that black people said, you know what, we're going to do this better.
I think white people just don't listen. I didn't even know about it until I was like 21 years old. Did someone even mention the Happy Birthday is a different version of it? So
you didn't know there was an alternative version.
Nah, I think white people don't know about it, is why they haven't copied it.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I know, man. What can I say? But the thing about the alphabet, though, man, if you really think about, like, it's very important it's in that order. Like, we think about, like, X, Y, Z at the end. You think about these letters, but it really is completely meaningless. They don't have to be in that order. I think if you really think about that, it's kind of a crazy thought.
I challenge you to really redo the alphabet.
Do you really want me
try to come up? I challenge you to do that, because I think it's almost impossible to come up with a rhythm as perfect as A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. Like that.
There's not. It's not even about the rhyming. I mean, okay. Here's something to think about with the rhyming. In the UK, they don't. It's not the letter Z. It's Zeta. They don't say Z. They say Zeta. So their alphabet ends differently than ours, because they don't say A B X Y Z. Next time, won't you sing with me? It ends in Ada. So they have to come up with some other rhyme. I don't know what fucking rhyme they use.
Well, Spanish alphabet is
not Zeta.
Sorry,
Z.
As far as like
Z.
Yeah,
Z.
I mean the Spanish alphabet is almost the same, where it doesn't really. It has like the same kind of flow as like the American English version, whatever we want to call it, whatever. It's like A, B, C.
But the difference, but what I'm saying is that's a different language. The English, like the UK version, they have the same everything as us. They just have an accent, but they don't pronounce ZZ. They pronounce Z. So what I'm saying is it's not about the rhyme, Terrance. It's just we created an order, and then that's the order it stays, so we just remember it. But it's not.
I still think that it's impossible for anyone to recreate, to mix the letters up.
For now, it's a challenge. I'm gonna have to do it.
I think it's impossible. Like you come back next week,
ladies and gentlemen.
You start with
episode 7. We're gonna hear a new alphabet on this show, and I'm gonna blow everyone's tiny little minds, or Terrance's at least.
This is gonna be a world premiere.
Yeah, well, this is what's gonna go viral, Terrance, is the new alphabet.
I'm looking forward to that. How you been though, man? How you been? How was your week?
Been all right, dude. I'm just going through school, and it's these professors, man, they're just, I don't know if it's because it's all online or what it is, but they're just confusing, and or they don't think about us. Like, for instance,
what do you mean?
So I have a class on Thursday and Friday, right? Thursday and Friday I have these classes. Cool. Now there's no work assigned after that, right? No work assigned on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We go into Monday. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I guess they didn't have homework this week. Both of them drop assignments yesterday afternoon. So I'm just relaxing.
Monday afternoon.
And one of them
due that same day, or
my American history one, she dropped it yesterday afternoon. It was due today. So I had to go. I got to do this class. And here's the problem. I have class with her on Thursday. It's an hour and 15-minute class. What she had us do was read like 14 pages of some fucking thing, read this article or there's a letter from Columbus. And then she has this weird, I don't know what program it is, but it's basically just videos and like, it's kind of like a PowerPoint, but she also has like a video of it. It's kind of weird. But there was 12 videos that lasted an hour and 15 minutes. I was like, the fuck? I had to sit there and I was like, we already have a class. And then you're giving me, I have to sit there and listen and watch for another basically class that I wasn't expecting to do. All for
she's setting you up for failure. That's what it sounds like.
That's bullshit, man. Also, like, what if I had class on Mondays? What if I was doing other things? That's not really fair to drop an assignment on a Monday it's due on a Tuesday. And so it's just, I don't know. These teachers last semester, everything was due on Sundays. And so I had like an order in which I did everything. But now I have teachers dropping stuff on Tuesdays, stuff is due Fridays, some stuff is due Sundays, and they're dropping it like it's not just available like at, beginning of the week. Like sometimes they just drop it whenever.
So remember the study that came out during the pandemic? I'm not sure if you read it, but it was a study that came out during the pandemic saying that people are more efficient now that they're working from home. And, like we don't need office space and stuff like that. I'm against that. I feel like people gotten more lazy during the pandemic. As far as like working from home and doing everything through virtual and things like that. I think people just got more lazy about it.
Yeah, I don't think like a lot of people are like, oh, is this going to change? Like, I'm like, I think you might see some working at home, but I think most people like it doesn't do us well to not be around other people you're working with and to see people you're working with and to collab like that. Like we don't need to be. We're already moving away from that naturally. We don't need to actually make sure no one's going back into offices. Like that's a good part of humanity that we work together near people and interact with people.
I mean, I'm down for the whole teamwork thing, and I'm also down for like working individually as well. Like I think there's a beautiful contrast between the two. I just feel like now when you're like I think I tried to make a phone call to one person and it was just like, oh, well, we'll get to it. And then it was like, email us. The process just took extremely long. And then I'm starting to see things where it says, please do not show up, only email or mail it to us. And don't call us, we'll call you. And it's just like, whoa, wait, what? No, these are important documents. Like I'm not just doing that.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like that's not like we're like I said, we're already naturally doing that because like how many companies don't even have, especially like apps and stuff, like they don't even have like numbers you can call for customer support. You only email them.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, bro, who the fuck knows? You know how many people like that, bro? Like, like it's not easy to get a response. Sometimes you send an email, you never hear back. There are apps I've never heard back from. Like it just sucks, man. And like we're moving away from that, but it's like we don't need to be furthering that. Like I don't want to. I spent the last year basically in this apartment, barely leaving. I don't want to continue that. I want to get to a point where I can go to an office to work or go to school or whatever it is. I don't want it to be this thing where like I spend all my time at home and maybe I go out occasionally like to hang out with you or something, but I don't want to. Come on, like we're human beings. We need to be around other human beings. I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're good, man.
Terrance, we got a special show for everyone today. Now, I didn't tell you about this or anything, but today I was going through the topics. This is going to be a throwback episode, Terrance. A lot of topics that are about us as kids, things that are in our past. Throwback episode.
It's a weird one, but we'll follow.
I don't know. I maybe it's a bad idea, but I don't know. I was thinking about some stuff, and I was like, a lot of these are kind of like related to the past, so we'll try it out. And if we don't like it, we'll delete the episode.
Can we do our Can we do our Black History shouts out?
Of course. Technically our last of the month. But maybe we'll just do this every week.
That seems like it went by pretty fast, right?
I know, right? That was only a month.
I wonder why. America.
Short month. And we talked about that, I think, on week
Shortest month of the year.
We talked about that week 1. That's why we said maybe 2021 is just Black History Year.
Black History Year, Black History Forever.
If you come to us next week, ladies and gentlemen, and we have another Black History shout out, we just decided to keep it going.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
It's our show.
Also, it's actually really entertaining and insightful to find out new details that you may not have found out about. I mean, look, we can do Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X all day, right? We can do that every day. But I think it's cool that, like we're looking at different things and finding out a couple of things as well about new people and things that they're doing. So you said throwback episode. right? So I think I kind of fall in the line right here with my shout out. My shout out today goes to Sean Jay-Z Carter, right?
I've heard of him.
You know, he's been around for a while, so it counts as a throwback.
I think someone told me once that he was born in the same day that
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton died. I don't know where I heard that from.
Yeah, you know, that sounds familiar, you know, around those lines, you know. But this dude has been amazing. Like literally when you look him up, there's a separate Wikipedia page for just his accomplishments. Like they had to split it off because it was that many. And you know, I refuse to read all of them because they're
too long. You don't have that
way too many. But literally, I'm just looking at the awards and nominations. He's been nominated in total over the course of his career 400 times, right? And this is just like everything from BET Awards, Grammys, whatever it may be, right? He's been nominated 400 times. Guess what his winning percentage or like where he's at with wins?
I think he's won 250 of the 400. It's my guess.
That's your guess?
Yeah, it's my guess.
That's actually dead on. It's 249.
Wow, here we go.
It's actually
I don't know
dead
what percentage
on.
that is, but there you go, Terrance.
It's over
more than
53. You know, it's over 53% or whatever. But think about how good you gotta be to be nominated 400 times and like come home with like more than half of those.
Terrance, I haven't been nominated.
You know, so that's great. Also, he just announced a partnership with LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, in which his brand, the Ace of Spades, is now going to be partnered with them. This is a little business section right here for you guys that are interested in that. But this man has done a lot of great things, you know. So we're going to continue to shout out great people that are doing great things and are of African American descent or African descent.
African American, Black.
Yeah. Black. Yeah.
Not African American.
Did we talk about that before? We talked about that.
Sure, before. We did.
Off air.
How we do not like the term African American.
We've talked about that
blanket term. Yeah, because you're not African American.
My family is on Caribbean culture, Western
that's
Jamaica to be specific.
The Caribbean and Africa are in fact two separate places. I don't know how people know that, but
they are.
Yeah, good shout out, Jay-Z. Doesn't everyone like Jay-Z? And he's done a lot of stuff, man. I feel like you have to like him.
Welcome home, Bobby Shmurda.
That was
a little cultural thing. Bobby Shmurda, one of the top 5 Brooklyn rappers, Brooklyn greatest rappers or whatever.
Did he go to jail or something?
Got home today. Yeah, he's home today. You know, so shout out to.
Oh, him. You're saying welcome home. I felt like that was something to do with Jay-Z. I was like, it confused me for a second.
No, man. No, we're good. Any shout outs this week or no?
No. I usually you handle that. Have you watched
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate that.
Have you watched Judas and the Black Messiah?
I did. Did you see it?
How was it? No, not yet.
So we can't talk about it. Man.
Well, I mean, we don't want to spoil anything really anyway. I watched The Little Things with Denzel.
Okay, all right. We can talk about that. What did you think?
I mean, you know what it was? It was a good film, and I thought the ending was like completely unsatisfying and not good. That's just I don't know. Like,
all right. So here's the thing: if people don't know, Joe is a huge film buff, right? So when I ask him about movies, I gotta ask him like 2 separate questions. I gotta ask him from his filmmaker mind, and then I gotta ask him as just like a regular consumer mind.
I mean, they're similar in this case. Like there's I don't know. It's not like the most original idea, the film, and it's also a lot of Seven. You've seen the movie Seven, obviously. With Brad Pitt.
I was gonna say, did it remind you of Seven?
Very Seven. I mean, it takes place. You know what's funny, man? It takes place October of 1990, man. That was the month I was born. So there you go.
So, wait, hold on. So let me ask this question, right? They never said in the movie. They never mentioned the year.
No, they do at the very beginning. It says October 1990, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's when it starts. I'm pretty sure it says that at one point.
I feel like they did a great job of telling you it was back in the days without saying.
I'm pretty sure they
say back. Like I don't feel like they mentioned the year
Where would
in the
I?
movie.
Where did I get that? They must have. I remember seeing that. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have pulled that information from.
Maybe from like a newspaper or something, like something that they might have shown on the screen.
Yeah,
but I don't remember anybody discussing what year this is.
Sneezed and missed it. But I don't know. Like it's too reminiscent of Seven without any of the good stuff. Like I thought the performances were good. I thought Jared Leto was really good, but the ending is like it. I don't really want to like spoil anything, but the ending of like him just getting in that car with him, I was like, are you kidding me? This is the stupidest thing anyone's ever done. I don't like. It was just dumb, and then just it was so unsatisfying. I was like, this is not a good ending. Like nothing was resolved.
Nothing was resolved. Look, I mean, it I liked it. You know, it's not a waste of your time.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not a It's just like an okay.
If you're watching it, it's something to keep you entertained, and you know, it leads you on. Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? I would say a good half of the movie. A good half of the movie, you're like, okay, what's gonna happen? Jared Leto, he played a small part. I don't know why everybody's talking about it like he did such an amazing
I don't know.
job.
Listen, he was very good, but I think he got like a Golden Globe nomination. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Why? I saw all the talk, and I'm like, oh, he must have went crazy. Like, he went crazy.
He's great, but it's like I don't look at that performance and go, oh, he is Oscar worthy. You know, I'm like, well, he was good. I mean, good. I don't know if
he had like 20 lines in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I think you know what it is when you get nominated for an Oscar. It's like being an all-star. It's very easy to get nominated again. And Jared Leto won the Oscar just a few years ago, back in like 2014. And so it's just like, oh, he gave a great performance. Let's nominate him again. He won for Dallas Buyers Club.
Did I see that?
It's a good film. Him and McConaughey.
I don't know if I saw that. I might not have seen that.
It's a good film. It's about like, well, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I don't know. I agree. I didn't really see him as being award worthy. He was very good. They all were, but not that good.
It wasn't. Look, I'm down for if you're saying like Denzel was Denzel in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't.
He's always Denzel.
Right. Denzel was Denzel. Great. You know, Rami Malek. I think that's how you say his name, right?
Malik. I don't know.
Malik. He did okay. But it was weird watching.
He's a weird looking guy, isn't he?
Is he right? So it was weird watching him, like, kind of be like, in a sense, over Denzel. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Because he was like a detective while he was like an old cop.
Yeah. It was weird seeing that because I'm like, am I watching Denzel Washington play second to somebody right now?
Yeah,
I felt like that's what I was watching.
But it's just like in Seven. It's just like the hotshot young detective and the old guy about to retire. It's the exact same thing. And one's black and one's white if you really want to get even further into it. But
Morgan Freeman, Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, Brad Pitt.
All
those white guys that go.
Why did
I get it.
I say Leo?
White guys look alike. I think it's a solid film. I would have been disappointed if I paid money to see that though. Like, it was free on HBO Max. But if I had gone to the theaters, I'd have been like,
shout out to HBO Max, man. I know a lot of people are hating what they're doing, but I'm really excited for everything HBO Max has going on.
They should not have committed like they have to it going on the whole year. Because by the time we get to summer, a lot of people are predicting a fairly decent return to the box office because, you know, the vaccine's out there, man. Like, it's going up every day. The projections by summer were going to be about 50% of the country will have the vaccine.
There's a lot of people that don't trust it still, though. There's a lot of people that just want to give it like at least a year. Well, people like me, I want to give it at least like a year. To like a year for them to kind of like, you know, vaccinate everybody or figure out all the side effects. I just feel like everything isn't figured out. That's just me.
Currently, we're in pandemic. They're 349. So I don't know if you really want to wait another fucking year on this, man. I'm not doing that.
As far as me taking the vaccine,
I mean, I'll be taking it as the last person on earth, essentially, because I spend 99% of my time in this apartment. There are way more people who need that than me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not in a rush to go and get it. Like, I'm not in a rush to go and get it. I want to give it.
But I'm
going to give it time.
I mean, listen, people have been getting it for months now. Like, there's no, unless you have like some sort of allergic, like there's specific allergic reactions. nothing's gonna happen. Like there's nothing wrong. Like I mean, you have time to get it.
People that have gotten it
and they died.
No, they
mutated.
Really bad reactions. Really bad side effects.
What's bad? Like what happened?
Really bad side effects. Swelling, high fevers, soreness, all that stuff. Like, bad
baby shit.
They had the side effects that you would expect from a vaccine, I would say.
So whatever. I'd rather have that than have to wear a mask for the rest of my life, or to have to fucking, get coronavirus.
I mean, what Fauci just announced in the latest report that masks may be around even coming into 2022. So,
well, he has to say that stuff to scare the shit out of people to get this stuff.
I think that's a scare tactic.
Well, in a sense, I mean, listen, the projections are that by like August, September, like a good 70 to 80% of the population will have it, which is really what we need in terms of us getting like once that we're at that level, like we're good, we can contain it very easily. But he can't just go, well, everyone's doing good, let's all relax. Because if he says that, then everyone's going to relax. We can't relax now. We need to relax at the end of the year when things are mostly good. So I think it's a bit of like he can't be too optimistic. He has to be like cautious because everything's gone to shit. I mean, 500,000 people are dead, Terrance. 500,000 in the U.S. are dead.
I think there's still going to be people that are ignorant, regardless.
Well, yeah, of course. That's the world we live in. Yeah. All right, Terrance, on to the show. So the first thing I want to talk about, Terrance, are there any things that you did or were going to do or as a kid or did, maybe it didn't pan out that could have just gone terribly wrong? So I'll start this off just because you haven't had time to think about it. So I remember, so I spent a good portion of my childhood in Florida, even though I was born in New York. And I remember, and I used to live in this neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood was, there are communities, what they're called in Florida. So there's very few houses that aren't a part of a community. Anyway, basically imagine a lake, and then there's a series of houses that go in a circle around the lake. Okay. And then a series of on a row. Anyway, I remember I had a friend of mine, and they're townhouses. They're all kind of connected to each other, essentially.
Yeah.
And I had a friend, and we, I don't know about you, but I love burning stuff, lighting stuff on fire. Like it's fun to watch like paper burn and shit like that. Like especially as a kid, that was like, it was so cool. Like light a fucking piece of paper on fire. Like
no, I wasn't a freaking pyromaniac.
It's cool, man. Not like actual things, but like paper and anyway. But I remember once we went on his roof, which these roofs weren't like, you're not supposed to be on the roofs. They're just slanted, like, like Italian style roofs, basically, like how they have their, it's just, it's not meant to be on them. But we, we're kids, we were like 12, 13 years old. We hopped on his roof, we were kind of hanging out. And we tried at one point, I remember like, we tried to like light something on fire, like a little, like some paper we had or something to like, I don't know why, but to light it on top while we were on this roof. Now we couldn't get it going because it was too much wind and like it wouldn't light. But Terrance, oh my God, that could have gone so wrong. I mean,
we're just talking about like bad choices when you were younger.
Yeah, like things maybe were about to do, or like something in this situation, like we did it, but it just didn't. Like, fortunately, it didn't light because that could have easily caught the whole roof on fire, and then fucking 3 houses burned down, and then there goes. That's a life-altering situation. Like my whole life would be different if that would happen.
Yeah, no, I remember being young and freaking going down south, Charleston, and freaking jumping from rooftop to rooftop on houses. Well, we were literally.
How far apart were the houses that you were jumping?
I'd say they're about 3 to 4 feet apart.
So you're just running from roof to roof for like just.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds kind of cool, but also
we did that back and forth for like 4 houses, right? So imagine just
how high were you? Like what you're on the roof, but like 3 stories, 4 stories?
We're on the roof. I want to say like maybe like 1.5.
Okay, so yeah,
right.
Gotten hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I fall. I'm I'll
not dead, but you're definitely hurt.
Yeah. No, I'll fracture something or whatever, and I'm young at the time, so it's like my recovery time is going to be like 3 weeks, so I'll be all right, right?
I'm sure you thought about that at that age.
No. At the time, it was like, do you ever realize like when you were that young, you don't need things to make dumb decisions. You just make dumb decisions.
Yeah, that's being a kid is not having foresight and to understand like the decisions you make. And,
right.
the ramifications of them. That's like,
so it's like when you get older, you need like alcohol to like be like, all right, you know, like I'm not making the right decision, you know, call it an excuse, but some people really get too drunk where they're not making the correct decision.
Yeah, they do. Young, but I think a lot of people use alcohol as like a lot of people are like, oh, I was drunk, I'll just do this. I think a lot of people are aware enough. Those people I hate. Even if they're drunk, they're aware, but they're like, oh, we'll just do this crazy thing. And it's like,
I hate those people I hate. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me though. But like when you're like a teenager or young or whatever, it's just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. Like, you know,
you don't even think about like what might go wrong. It's just like, let's just do this thing.
You know, oh my God, these kids nowadays, they're not gonna have anything like we did.
No, they're not.
Think about the experiences they're gonna miss out on.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how much
that just baffles me.
Who knows how much this pandemic's gonna fuck them up? They might. Who knows? I mean, if you were a junior or senior the last 2 years, like, are you kidding me? If you were a senior, you get to graduate, and then this year you might not get to like actually graduate or like go to prom or that classic shit. Like, sorry.
Yo, I was seeing that, right? The kids that had to kind of do like the virtual graduations and stuff. And the virtual proms and stuff.
A virtual prom, you know what that means? It's nothing. That means watching TV. That's what a virtual prom is.
I had my first alcohol drink during my prom.
Did you? I had it before. I didn't go to prom actually.
You didn't go to prom?
No. So here's the thing. I was in ROTC in high school. You know, we were like around the world, and every year, in February, actually, right around now, we had something called Military Ball, which was basically prom for ROTC. We had like this really nice place we'd go to, and it's very specific thing. Yeah. You dress up in uniform, but even nicer. And it was like also like the changing of the guard, where like we had like, if you were on like the ROTC staff, you had like these positions, it would change that night. Like you'd get a new position if you wanted, you applied for it. But those were really cool. And my senior one was awesome. Like I had like because that point we were leaving our positions in ROTC. Like once you're a senior, you know, you do your last bit and then you're done. And so it was awesome. I got to hang out with all my closest friends and we had a blast and just, you know, we had fun. But then a few months later, like I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about high school. And a lot of my friends, like that was the prom. I was like, why do I want to go to actual prom and have to find a tux and all that shit? So
man. Like, I mean, that's cool, right?
I mean, it basically replaced prom for me. It's not like I didn't, you know, go at all.
You know what it is though? You saved a ton of money though, because the prom thing with the ticket,
that's the thing, corsages and fucking limo and the tux. Dude, you know, all I needed to do for ROTC was get a white button up, which I already own because come on, and then get like a bow tie. It's only different. The rest of the uniform we already had, you know, so in the bow tie, like whatever, but that's it. You know, and again, that was all of my closest friends. Like ROTC was like his little family. All my closest friends were there. We had a blast. Like if I went to prom, it would have been a lot of people I don't fucking know at all, and maybe some of my friends, but that's it. So it was just you I had my prom.
It's a lot. You know what people say? You know, you just got to do it because it's like once in a life experience. You know, you only get one prom. I went to 2.
There you go. Junior year, senior year.
No, actually, I went my senior year with my best friend, my female best friend.
Yeah, I'm sure you were hoping it was more than that night, but sounds like
actually no. We've been friends for years. We're still friends to this day. Nothing has ever happened.
I know nothing. I can tell in your voice nothing's ever happened. I'm just saying. No. I think you wanted to happen. She didn't. So.
No, it's crazy because back then
people
would like. No, yeah. I mean, back then people would make fun of me. They thought I was gay because I would always be real about it. It's like, nah, nothing ever happened with us. Yeah, people, like I was the only dude probably not lying on his dick in high school.
Yeah, that was when we were in high school. That's what it was. Like you were gay unless you could prove you were like actively with a woman. That was just
right. It was just like it didn't make any sense. You know, it was just like, but that's. When you think about the things that you're learning in high school, like in high school, that's probably when boys learned, oh, I gotta lie about who I'm having sex with. That's the mindset of what's happening, and we don't even realize it.
Did you ever watch 21 Jump Street?
Channing Tatum. Yes.
So something they joke about in the film was like how it's like, and this was back in 2011 when that movie came out. Everything was like so different from when they went to high school to when they go, fake back to high school, because like Jonah Hills are the cool one. Like the jocks are like not as cool because they're like super narrow minded. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder if like now, like, are high schools like super open? Like, are all the kids there like are they super open to everything? Like, nothing. No one.
I would say so. I would think so. I would hope so. I mean, obviously, we're how many years removed from high school?
I mean, you graduated in
2007.
Yeah, we're going on 12, 13 years right now, brother.
We're a long time removed from
isn't that
high
crazy,
school,
man?
12, but I would hope because I feel like when I came out of school, it was more so, especially high school, it was more so about, by the time I got to like my junior, senior year, especially, I was more accepting of who I was. I was like, all right, cool.
Hopefully.
This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I'm going to be a part of. This is what I don't want to be a part of. You kind of like found your niche. I think these kids are finding it a lot earlier. I think by the time they're hitting junior high school, they're finding it.
I think they think they're finding it because they're being told like they're supposed to do all these things like early. But like I don't think they're still children. They don't know. Like what did we know when we were in high school?
Also, they have things like YouTube and Google. Like
thank Christ we didn't go to school when they are now.
They have those with the answers are literally like it's funny because one day I was with my little sister and she was doing her virtual class and the teacher had said something, I forgot what the word was, and the kid tried to correct her and the teacher was like, no, this is what it is.
I very rarely was able to successfully correct my teacher. When I was in high school a couple times, but that's the closest I ever got.
But these kids now sometimes they're getting answers ahead of time.
But that's because they're looking it up. It's not like they're actually like they're looking up this information, which is how you obviously learn, but it's I don't know. It's not like they know all this stuff and then they're like so much smarter. They just have the ability to look. I mean, when we were in school, Terrance, I couldn't.
But the other side of that, though, you can learn visually.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Terrance. Since I got out of high school, the way I learned most is by Googling stuff, Wikipedia. Like you read about stuff. Like we have the ability. If someone says something, I can just look it up and go, let me read about this thing. I didn't even know anything about this.
Right. Exactly.
Like people take advantage of that.
Remember encyclopedias?
Yeah, I don't think they exist anymore.
They don't? What? No.
I mean, I'm sure I guess technically, but like, how many people are buying actual encyclopedias?
Oh man, my mom used to have like a collection of encyclopedias, man. Like they were crazy. My dad, he made us. I remember one time when we were younger, he made us read the dictionary. That was just like a thing he wanted us to do. Yeah, right. It sounds crazy, but it definitely opened up your vocabulary. When you're younger, it was just like,
to be fair, there are like apps and stuff like that do that now, like word of the day and all that type of stuff to try to get you
right in order to do that.
That's crazy as you think. I
think there's a thing. There's something to be said about having to be, in a sense, forced to do things that seemed a little extra. I guess. Yeah. It's
when you're kids, even when you're adults, but being forced to do certain things can be quite useful. It's just a matter of if it gets
But they're not seeing it. I don't think these kids will see it that way.
It's interesting. We'll see in like 10 years what the fucking state of the next that graduating classes. So any other stories about anything that almost went horribly wrong or anything like that? And that was it.
Oh yeah, I rode on the back of a UPS truck.
Like you just ran up while it was driving and jumped on?
Yeah.
I thought about that. Yeah. It's a bold move, man. It's a bold move.
So here's the thing. Funny story about that.
Couldn't really do that in Florida was the problem, because if you got on, you'd be like a mile away by the time we got off. It's like, well, fuck.
Nah, see, I live in New York City.
I live in Brooklyn, New York City. So you just go a few blocks.
Not a problem. But it happened near my building at the time. So what I did was I saw it, right? And I saw the truck. Here's the thing, right? And I'll never forget this lady name.
How old were you, by the way? Do you know, ish?
Probably was like 13 at the time. I probably was like 13, 14, right? School. I remember school being over. It was like the last day of school. I remember this clear as day, right?
Feeling good, energy's high, you're like school's
I'm coming
out.
home, I'm walking up the block, I see the UPS truck right now. There was no one with me. I don't remember why I decided to do this. I must have seen somebody else do it.
You want to know why, Terrance? Because that was before a time where you needed to prove every single thing you did, like pictures and stuff and video. So you were like, let me just do this because that's what life is supposed to be, man. Because now, Terrance, no one does anything in the world anymore unless they can show pictures and video that they did it. Like people go skydiving. Bro, no, who goes skydiving doesn't show like a million pictures. Like people don't do things for the fun of it. They just do it.
I love doing stuff and not like Instagramming it or whatever. I love
life is like that. You can't prove I did anything in my life. I could just be making everything I've ever set up because there's no proof of almost anything I do.
But you probably could have did it. You know what?
I still did it. One time. I don't care if I can prove it. I did it.
I remember when you told me you went swimming with sharks. You know?
Did I?
No, that was the whole point.
Terrance, they weren't sharks, they were whales, okay? So get the killer whales. So you need to get your facts straight, sir.
The whole goddamn point you just said. I
know. So wait, so you just randomly saw was it moving and you jumped on it, or was it like stationary?
No. So look, the guy he just finished dropping off package, he's coming out the building, right? So I looked at it. I see him coming out the building. I know he's about to jump in the car. He's about to jump in the car and start the car, right? He jumps on the truck. He jumps in the truck, right? He starts up the engine. I run, jump on it back. It's about to take off. Like, you know, like you ever heard Kevin Hart? It was like, it's about to go down.
I was just thinking that it's about to go down. I was going to say that.
It's about to take off. Next thing you know, I hear Miss Sylvia. And Miss Sylvia was the freaking next door neighbor to us in our building. I hear Miss Sylvia. Get off the truck.
Oh, Miss Sylvia, what are you doing?
I jumped off the truck. It was literally, he hit the gas, boom, and I jumped off, right?
You probably was pissed yourself.
I jump off, and now I'm looking for her. She was looking outside of the window. But so now I'm looking for her. One of those old ladies
who just staring at the
window. Yeah. So now I'm looking for her. I'm like, damn, I see her. I'm like, damn. So I go upstairs or whatever. This is back in the days when you were able to go home by yourself and your parents wasn't home.
Right.
When you got home, you know.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did for years. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I believe they call us latchkey kids, technically. That's the official. It's because it started off in like the 80s when women started actually going to the workforce, like women and like husband and wives, and so kids would wear like a key to get into the apartment, and that's technically the official term. So there you go. There's your fun fact for the day, kids. Latchkey kids.
Latchkey kids. Anyway, that's like weird.
Sorry, I threw off your whole story.
Yeah,
sorry.
Latchkey. My mom's was just working. Like
I bet if you ask your mom what a latchkey kid. If you ask her, she'll know exactly what it means.
She told me I was 13. I didn't need a babysitter.
Bro, that was the way it was for me. I was like 9. I was always my brother and sister were when I was like 9 and like in elementary or whatever. My brother and sister were in middle school, so they got off later than me, and so I'd come home by myself for like hours. That lasted for like years.
Right. You know, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You make food for yourself and figure it out. Watch some Toonami.
Some of that noodles, some of this ramen a little bit.
Just do whatever you need to do. Anyway, long story short, Miss Sylvia told my mother when she got home, and I got punished for the whole summer.
Oh, dude, nothing is more.
The whole summer, I was on punishment.
Right now in your chest, that feeling of like when you do something and you know someone's going to tell, like an adult is going to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling, you can feel it right now in your chest. It's like the worst, most foreboding feeling in the world.
I never talked to Miss Sylvia again.
Oh, Miss Sylvia doesn't deserve to be spoken to. Come on now.
I never talked to her again.
Listen. Nothing happened. You got off the truck. Could she just let your kid? Let's
so that's the thing. That's the thing. Also, we gotta remind.
Can we get Miss Sylvia on the phone? Call her up, Terrance. Let's get her on the phone right now.
Remember when you'd go to like a parent-teacher conference and it felt like the teacher was exaggerating everything?
Oh, dude, I remember one.
And it was just like, yo, what? I didn't even do all of that.
Terrance,
What are you talking about?
I remember going into a third grade one thinking everything was fine. I was a good kid. It ended up being like a fucking hour and a half. The teacher, I think I remember hearing her say she specifically waited to have us be the last one she talked to because she knew it was going to be a long one. And all I remember was crying in the whole thing. And like, apparently I was doing like terrible in class. I didn't even know. Like, not like, I don't think with grades, but I was acting up or something.
But here's the thing. Did she give you any clue as to
no, she totally
what it was going to be
sandbagged me.
about,
I didn't know shit. I thought I was good. And then here comes whatever fucking teacher that was. I don't even remember her name. Just sandbagged me like a fucking chalk in front of my parents.
No, I used to hate that, man. Because I literally, I thought I was straight. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know, back then, you know, my moms and pops, they used to reward us for like good report cards or whatever, or good parent teacher conference and stuff like that. We go to Toys R Us, you get like a nice, you know, $30 gift or whatever.
Remember Toys R Us was cool? We would go there and get like an action figure or some shit.
We go and be like, oh, get something, you know,
Mystic Knights
or whatever.
Mystic Knight toys.
It was lit. It was on. I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna go here. We're gonna get this parent teacher conference way over. We're gonna go to Toys R Us after. We're about to be ready. I remember sitting there and just like jaw drop. Yeah. Like, oh, he can. What always kills me was when they said he has potential to do better.
Yeah, that's I've heard that my whole.
It was like, wait, so I'm not doing bad, but you're sitting here telling my parents that I got the potential to do better. You're not even saying the good things I did. You're just saying the potential to do better.
And these teachers, man, these teachers. And here I am. I'm 30 years old. I'm in college. I'm still saying the same. These fucking teachers.
Full circle.
Yeah, if we had come full circle, fucking 20 years later, I'm saying the same thing.
Blindsiding you still.
Yeah, they are, man. I'm gonna have parent-teacher conference fucking next week with something. I'm like, oh, mom, I don't know. I thought I was doing good, but apparently not.
Apparently not.
Terrance, was there any? Do you know? Can you think of any like a TV show or a movie or a book or whatever, something that really stuck in your head, like you saw it or you read it, whatever it was, and it just like it had an impact on you when you were a kid?
100%.
Give me one.
100%. The coldest winter ever. Sister Soldier.
The coldest soldier ever what?
The coldest winter ever. By Sister Soldier.
That's a book? What is that?
That's a book.
Coldest?
That's a book.
So was there a specific moment that really stuck with you, or was it just the book was like
it was the first book I was able to read that felt reminiscent of what I would see in my neighborhood. You know, it wasn't a book that was assigned to me or whatever.
Right. It was like an actual you chose to read.
Yeah,
it was. You said the coldest winter is the name of it?
Yeah, the coldest winter ever.
Oh, I'm gonna look it up right now.
You know,
oh, you hated My Sister Soldier. I found it.
Yeah, it's a
Did you know there's a prequel and a sequel? Have you read those?
I have not, because I've heard that they're bad. I've heard that they're bad.
Yeah, that usually happens.
But the original, the coldest winter ever, I still vividly remember scenes from that book.
Oh, wow. The novel deals with drugs, sex, prostitution, violence, greed, and the cycle of poverty. This is heavy shit. What are you reading this book? How old are you?
I read that book in, I want to say either 8th or 9th grade.
Pretty heavy stuff for like, I mean, that's, I guess.
When did it come out? It had to come out like early 2000s.
1999, right? According to this.
Okay, so yeah, 1990. So if it came out in 1999, yeah, because I graduated in 2007. I remember getting a hold of it like around 8th or 9th grade. So yeah, and it wasn't mine. It was my mother's book, and it was just, I don't know, for some reason I saw it and I was just like,
did you ask her, or you were like, I'm taking this?
No, I just took it.
I bet she didn't want you to read this. This seems like it's a fairly...
No, it was not. It was not
old for like a kid like 13 to read.
It definitely wasn't made for me to read. It definitely wasn't. But it was so like, you ever seen New Jack City?
No, I've heard of this.
Oh man, you got to watch New Jack City. You know what? It's so weird.
New Jack City. I've heard of this before.
Wesley Snipes, Chris Rock, Ice-T.
No, I never saw it. I
man.
do. During the crack epidemic.
Yes. check out. So here's the great thing about this. I'm glad we stumbled across
someone
this.
named Nino in it. I have an uncle Nino.
Nino Brown. Long live Nino Brown, man. If I'm going down, all you motherfuckers is going with me.
Is that from the movie? There we go. I like these quotes.
Nino Brown. So now, look, he stumbled across a book and a movie.
There we go.
That's just like, yo,
influenced you.
You gotta watch.
So the coldest winter ever was a bit. You said it was because it's set in Brooklyn. That like just really spoke to you. You were like, holy shit, this is like me.
I don't remember if it was set in Brooklyn, but the area, like how she described it, it was very similar to, like I said, like something I would see like in my neighborhood. Like I was like, oh, like I feel like I know a dude named Midnight. One of the main characters was Midnight in there, whatever. He was a drug dealer.
That's a cool name.
I was like, oh, I feel like I know a dude like this. And, you know, there was a girl that was dealing with him and she was going through a lot of stuff. And her mother, I think, was on drugs at the time. It was just really, really like something I was like, oh, like this sounds like something I know somebody going through. Right. Or like it's not unfamiliar to me to see this. And I think at the time, you know, when you grow up and you're getting interested in things, when you're in school, they just, what are they teaching you? They teach you about everything that's in the textbook. Yeah. So it's hard. It's really hard, you know. And I went to the junior high school I went to was in my neighborhood. The high school I went to, I purposely went outside of my neighborhood because I felt like I wanted to expand my mind or whatever case may be, you know, and just do something different. But it's tough when, like, you know, a lot of your teachers aren't Black and everything you're learning has really nothing to do with you. So it's like when you finally come across something that reminds you of like you and like something that you think you can see and actually relate to, oh man, it cuts right through. It cuts right through, you know? So that's super, super, super important to do.
Yeah.
And it leaves like a lasting effect. Like I think I might read that book again.
That's why it's like representation, man. Like someone like me, I don't really get it. I'm just
representation.
I don't really get it, and it's something that as the years have progressed, I've talked to so many different people who've mentioned it, and I'm like, I see the impact it has of like seeing people who are like you in whatever media it is, whether it's books or movies, TV shows. Like, it's important, man. It means something to you,
right?
So this is the first,
you know, and then it's always. I mean, look, you're Italian. I'm Black, but even if you go back to like a lot of Black culture, we kind of like the Italians. We've looked at what the Italians were doing. Like a lot of rappers and movie stars and stuff are influenced by like Robert De Niro and Casino and a lot of things that went on with the mafia and stuff.
What is it? Is it Delirious? Where he talks about like how every Italian dude was like thinking they could beat up Black people after seeing Rocky.
Yeah.
Raw or Delirious talks about that. It's like the funniest fucking bit.
Right. You know, so I think it's really, really funny, you know, a Scarface or whatever, even though like that's completely different. But it more so like along those lines, because we didn't have a lot of our own, that's what we kind of gravitated to when we was looking at and stuff, you know. Like, yeah, but it's happening slowly but surely. It's happening.
The sequel, by the way, is called Midnight, a gangster love story.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't read it.
On the cover, it's just like looks kind of like you with a hoodie. So there you go.
That doesn't sound good.
I assume that's supposed to be Midnight.
That doesn't sound good at all.
So was there anything specific in the book that like a moment, or no, just the book as a whole, really?
Nah, just the book as a whole, man.
Because I think about
just the book as a whole.
I think the thing that pops into my head when I ask that question of like, well, a specific moment. So I loved Harry Potter. I think I was like 10 when I started reading them or whatever. I love those books, and it's funny, I'm actually rereading them right now for the first time in like 12 years. But what's crazy, there was a specific part, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movies or watched or read the books, there's a part in the fourth book where the fourth book is like the first one where it's like big, it's like a 700-page novel. The other ones are like 300-400, and it's the first one that's definitely the most like mature. Like it's no longer like a kid's book; they're more like young adult at that point. And at the very end of the book, there's this character named Cedric Diggory, and he's in the whole book as like a fairly prominent character in this book, and he's like going back and forth, and he's part of the Triwizard tournament or whatever. And then he at the very end, like they think they're going to win the cup, and they get teleported, and Voldemort's there, right? And very quickly, as he gets there, Voldemort, like he's talking to his like fucking servant, he's like, kill the spare, and he just kills Cedric Diggory. Like, he just hits him with a spell, and it happens so suddenly. And I remember reading the line over and over and over. I was in such shock that he just dies. Like, she just straight up he's the first character to get like murdered in the book, like the first like good character in the whole series. So it was like a big deal. Like, I remember like I was reading it. I'm like 11 or whatever how old I was. And I remember like I couldn't keep reading that night. I was like, I was just in such like a state of almost shock that this guy just gets killed. It was a big moment, man.
It kind of like it hooked you, and then it was just like now you're in it.
It's like real life shit where like it's just, you don't expect something like that. You just didn't expect, like, this is the fourth book I've read of the Harry Potter series, and in this whole time, no characters even really died, and no good one. He's like this totally good dude, and he just dies, and it happens like really suddenly. Like, you don't even realize it, that he gets hit by a spell and he just dies immediately. No fight, no nothing. It's like, holy shit. So that was a big deal. I remember that one really, that had a big impact on me.
I like that. I hope that there are moments that are kind of like catching kids now.
Yeah.
That they're able to kind of like hold on to, that has, you know, and I say this from a point, like, literally I never thought about it. Like, but I never really realized that piece of literature like actually was something that I kind of hooked onto. I still believe somebody should make it into a movie. I don't care if it's a free YouTube series. Like, I don't care. Do something with this story, because it's an immediate success. It's an immediate success.
Oh, you want to hear 100%. Apparently, you know who owns the rights to this film, to the book?
Who?
Jada Pinkett Smith. That's a curveball.
Oh, it's coming.
Well,
it's coming.
In 2011, she told Vibe magazine that she hadn't found a good business package yet, but she was still interested in creating the film. That was 10 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, because it got to be done right. I understand it. It has to, the way that it's done. There's certain things, right? Like, when you speak about the Harry Potter book. Now, when you look at the movies, you feel like they did it justice?
I don't like the movies, no. I stopped watching them halfway through because they took so... Listen, those are big books, man, especially like the 4 through 7. They're big books, but they just take so much shit out of them. I started hating those movies.
They didn't write. So as you reading the book, you know that they didn't do it justice. And I didn't read the book. I only watched the movies. So it was like, I was like, all right, this is cool, you know? Right. But had I read the book, I probably would have felt the same way. So like, me reading
a lot of people love those movies, and more power to you. But to me, like, you know what it is? I remember the first couple of movies, I was like, these are cool. And then like the third one, the fourth one, I was like, they're kind of taking a lot out, you know? And then I just finished reading the fifth one when that movie came out. And I saw it like within a couple of days of finishing the book. And I mean, it was so fresh in my mind, obviously. And I was like, they're taking out like 70% of this book. It feels like everything is being taken out just to go quickly. And I was just like, I'm not into this, man. Like, I'm just not into this.
Yeah, you can't be that way. Like, it's just
hard, man. It's hard for me with books and movies. It's hard for me to. It's rare, dude. It's rare for almost any movie I've seen if I've read the book first for me. Even like The Martian. The Martian is a fantastic movie, and it's a fantastic adaptation in almost every way. There's one key thing they changed.
Brad Pitt again?
No, again, every white guy looks the same. Terrance, Matt Damon, actually.
Damn it.
Listen, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, they all look like the same guy. I get it. It's fun. But
it's actually funny. I thought I was good with my white guys.
Several times. First you thought it was Leo was Brad, and now you're like, oh, it's definitely Brad Pitt. No, Matt Damon. That's hilarious.
Name of the episode is That White Guy.
They're all white guys. Who the fuck? I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking about that. I think the other movie that really was like an important one growing up was The Neverending Story. I watched The Neverending Story a lot when I was a kid.
The Flying Dragon.
Yeah, well, he's not a dragon. I don't know what he is, but yeah, that one. He's like a dog that has wings, kind of. That was the time, Terrence, that kids don't understand this nowadays. Movies from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, kids' movies were dark as fuck. They were like intended to scare the shit out of us without us even realizing.
So?
Think about like Edward Scissorhands and
dope though.
Dude, let's think about Willy Wonka, man, the one from the 70s.
Dope.
Yeah,
Gremlins, one of my favorite movies.
Which one is?
Gremlins.
The
first one.
Gremlins is awesome too. Terrence,
Beetlejuice.
A lot of these. Listen, I love these movies, so I'm not gonna say I don't like them, but they were much like kids now. Every movie's like happy and rainbows and shit. But back then they were like even the.
Nah, you make a good point.
Remember the first? You watched the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, right?
I did. Yeah.
Super dark. It's like based off like the comics were dark, admittedly, but the cartoon's like super fun and free, and the movie's like dark.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I think Shredder cut like somebody's head off or something, and they like showed it.
I think they changed it though. Like I think he kills a kid or something, but then they added in like him breathing with the sound effects because they didn't want to make it dark. It's crazy. Also, I remember what's that dude's name? The dude who hangs out with them.
With the hockey thing.
I remember he's like a Jose Canseco bat. Like in retrospect, that's a brilliant line, especially since he's gone on to be like this insane, roided out psychopath. Jose Canseco. But yeah, movies were really dark back then. It's very cool in retrospect, but like the Neverending Story just stuck with me. It was like really dark. Like I really want to rewatch it. I haven't watched it like who the hell knows how long. But it was just
I don't think I've ever seen it. And now that you're saying this right now.
I don't think I've ever seen it actually, so I think I might just watch it because it was a good film.
It's on Disney Plus?
I think so. I think I saw it and I was like, I should watch this.
Check it out. Disney Plus, they've been coming out with some heat as well. They've been dropping some.
I like
some good stuff here and there.
They just don't have nearly enough non-Disney stuff. I mean, the Disney stuff is obviously fantastic, but they need a little bit.
Own a lot of stuff.
I know, but like, if you're not specific, if you don't want to watch like a Pixar or a Marvel film or Star Wars, like they need to just flesh out the library with like, and they have some stuff, but I think they need a bigger library right now. Just
you don't want to watch a Marvel stuff. I've actually
you've watched them. I've watched all of them before. It's not like I'm gonna keep watching them.
Yeah, pretty much I do.
No. All right, Terry. I think one of our last questions for this throwback episode, Terrence, is going to be: do you have like what's your craziest or best story as a non-adult, as a kid, teen, whatever it is? I'm trying to think of what like
our craziest or best
story that you still even to this day like tell people, like something you did. You're like, oh man, it's crazy shit.
Oof.
I could go if you want. I think I have one.
Yeah, you might have to go. I don't know.
Well, think about it
a lot.
It's a pretty. It is a fucked up thing. So there was this. So I used to go over my friend James' house constantly. Like me and him hung out so much, especially in like elementary and middle school. Like I'd go over that kid's house almost every fucking weekend. And at one point, even though we were probably like 12, 13 years old, his parents had kind of like a babysitter who was kind of like a family friend. And he was a really cool dude. Like he would hang out with us. He wasn't like a babysitter. He would just chill and talk to us and we'd all have fun. And at one point I remember we started like doing this thing where we would like drive to the mall or whatever. And like he would obviously driving because we were kids. And it turned into this thing where we started like shouting stuff out at people like as we were going by.
Wait, you're driving at 13?
No. He was this babysitter. This babysitter who's like 30 years old. Whereas me and my friend and James, we were like 12, 11, 13, whatever it was. But it started off as this thing where we would drive to the mall, but then like as we would drive by, like there's a lot of people in Florida like walking, but every once in a while we'd see someone, we'd like yell something crazy at them. That's how it started, is us just yelling crazy shit. And then eventually he bought us like a Penthouse magazine because he was like a cool dude. And like we were like, this is amazing, like a Penthouse magazine, are you kidding me? And then it became, I think it was actually worse than Penthouse. It was actually like porn eventually. Like, he was like a mag.
Worse?
Well, I think Penthouse was just women naked. I think eventually it was like actual sex. Like actual like a guy and a woman like fucking on pages basically. I don't know. I guess it's just porn, isn't it? But eventually, we started doing this thing where we would drive around, and if we would come to a stoplight, as it turned green, if there was like someone on the corner, we would just pull the mags down and be like, "You see this shit?" And make a picture just of a girl going down the guy, like look at the size of that, or like crazy shit like that. Like, and people like at the time, I don't know what this guy was thinking, like why he would do this with a bunch of like 13-year-old kids. Like this guy's like 30 years old. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, I don't know.
That might have that might have been a little
illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're literally showing people porn. I mean, it was totally like, but what like no, I don't know. It was before cell phones. Like anyone was going to take a picture or like call someone immediately. Like no one could really do anything back then. That's a great part of that.
Do you think you were introduced to sex too early?
No, not really. I mean, nothing. I don't know. Maybe. Why? Nothing happened. It's not like I.
No. Just like the idea of it, right? Because I think about it like when you tell that story, I think about like the first time I had sex, right? And the first time I had sex, the girl didn't think I was a virgin.
Of course,
she thought like I was experienced.
You couldn't say that to her, obviously. I mean,
right? She thought I was experienced, right? And I wasn't. I told her I wasn't. But
same with me.
I remember a lot of videos that I was watching, and I couldn't wait to practice.
Parents, this is so same with me. That's the same story I have. But the craziest thing is like anyone who's growing up now, like you can be fucking 8 years old and Google fucking porn and find billions of videos. Like we didn't really have that. I didn't really have that growing up. I couldn't just streaming wasn't a thing when we were growing up. Streaming only became a thing like a few years after. Like we actually like, no one had internet that could stream. That wasn't a thing.
Well, we did. We didn't have streaming. We had downloading. I guess you would say, right?
You could download it, but something like, dude, to download a full porn took a while.
Oh my god! Also, like, yo, I used to put it on LimeWire and then come back the next morning. Just but Terrance, start to download that night and then come back.
That was difficult. That was a difficult thing to do with your parents, and you didn't like. It's hard.
Yeah, you had to wake up before everybody and make sure you get to the computer.
Yeah.
First of all, you had to make sure nobody was on the phone. Started
billion fucking viruses thanks to LimeWire. We all did. I mean, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
The computers were fucked after I got done with them.
Your mom started bugging out. Like, what's going on with the computer? I don't know.
No idea, Mom. It's fine when I was using it. Couldn't tell you what.
I don't know.
Eventually, my parents eventually got us like we got two new computers. Like it was some deal or something, and so they put one in their room. But there was the only space they had like that really made sense in our house was in my room with my brother. So fortunately, I had a computer in my room, which was great. It basically became my computer, which was great. But like, yeah, it was difficult, man. And listen, it was a PC. There was no headphone jack that was like available. I think there may have been one in the back, but it was like nowhere near. I had to have like a speaker. I had like the speaker like pressed to my fucking ear, like as low as it could go, like literally pressed to my ear. Because what the fuck else are you gonna do? But anyway. The thing with this guy, like, well, we did this for a while. There was one point where I think we've exaggerated this in our head, but I remember there was this place called Bubba's Fish Camp, and we always thought the name of the place.
Bubba,
like it's like the most southern thing you could do. So we always loved that place, and they had like an outdoor like place you could eat, like a little patio, whatever it was, and we would always yell something as we drove by because they could all hear, right? And at one point, I remember they had like some live music, like quietly playing. And at one point, like my friend leaned out the window and he's like, "I butt fucked Mr. Bubba," and just yells this. And I swear to God, again,
y'all had nothing to do down there.
Dude, it's Florida. What the fuck was there to do? Literally, Terrance, nothing. There's literally nothing other than the mall. There was nothing to do in Florida. Like, what else are you gonna do? There's no bodegas. You can't just, if you need to go hang out with a friend, you need to like have someone drive you to go do that. You couldn't just go take the train. You have nothing to do in Florida. I mean, Florida sucks. But I remember like the music stopped playing. We heard like a dish shatter. Like it felt like everyone in that restaurant heard exactly what he said. And I don't know if that's true, if we've made that up since then, but definitely felt that way. So that's my like craziest situation growing up. It's classic.
No.
Nothing I can top that probably.
I really don't, man. Like I've done some sick things and I can't really say that
can't really say don't want to tape here now that would be recorded.
Yeah. I don't know, like I grew up in Brooklyn, so I grew up in a crazy area. I moved from Brownsville, Brooklyn to Canarsie, Brooklyn, and both areas were
Such nice
pretty rowdy.
locations in New York City.
It's you want to make sure you know people. that's that's all I gotta say about it.
Oh, geez, that sounds aggressive.
Look, when you're growing up, like you said, like kind of the theme of this episode has been like as you're growing up, you make wrong choices, you make good choices or whatever. I you know what? I could give one where I stole this kid's Game Boy out of his
Stole a
book bag.
kid's Game Boy, not even from like a store. You stole another kid's Game Boy.
No. I stole another kid's Game Boy.
What kind of Game Boy do you remember? Was it a Game Boy Color?
No. It was the flip one. What was the little square one that flipped?
SP, wasn't that what's called? The Game Boy?
Something like that. Yeah.
I never had that one, but it was so cool at the time.
Yeah, I remember he had it in his back. I was watching him. I was watching him all day, pretty much, or whatever. And me and my friend
open it out.
Me and my friend, we was talking about it, and it's like watching them all day. And then we went to gym class, and when you go to gym, you leave your bag on the floor pretty much, like during the gym class. So I remember it was like just playing basketball. We all playing basketball, blah blah blah. And I remember just kind of being like, "Oh, I'm gonna take some water. I'm gonna take a break or whatever." And I sat next to his bag.
Wow, look at you!
I sat next to his bag and went in, took it, threw it in mine. Oh, and then went back on the court, played. I think about a lot of things I did, man. It was just like I wasn't.
Did you keep that and never give it? You just owned that?
Oh no, yeah. That's mine now.
Wow, Terrance.
That's mine now.
Did you ever like? Did you ever hear he like when he saw he didn't have it? Was there any big thing, or like you never heard?
Oh yeah, nah. Yeah. He definitely was like, somebody took something or whatever. And it's crazy because all the teacher had to do was all the gym teacher had to do was check her right back. Like that's really all he had to do.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't just do that. Like, I mean, it's not like anyone was gonna stop you back then. Like, I thought he just lost it. It was like, shut up, kid.
He didn't do that. He didn't do that. Gym teacher didn't do that.
Now, be honest. Do you feel bad?
Weird. I feel bad now as an adult.
Right.
I definitely.
Game Boy. He's just.
I feel, thinking back on it. That's why I said like it's kind of hard because it's like, you know what? I did a lot of things growing up that if I told people about it, it'd be like, whoa, like you're not even that person. And it's like, no, I'm not that person now. But as a kid, it wasn't exactly the cleanest of kids. It was just like.
I mean, listen, I think we all have stories like that, like doing things you're like, I wouldn't obviously do that now, but you're a kid and you just want something, and yes, you do stupid. Again, this is what you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to do these things as a kid, so you don't do them as you get an adult.
That's for sure.
Like now you're not going to pocket someone's fucking phone if you want it because you were like, well, that's terrible.
Oh, nah, man. I think we talked about it on one of the episodes where I found somebody's phone and like, I called them and so I could give them back, give it back to them, because just like.
Do you know, Terrance, what someone wrote in actually, an email? It was very inconsequential, but what they did ask was whatever happened with the your Netflix, because you at one point were like someone paid for, like someone charged your account for another month of Netflix. But then you never figured out who did it. Did you ever figure that out?
No, I never figured out who did it, but I canceled it again.
So is it definitely canceled?
It's definitely canceled. Yeah, it's canceled. God damn it!
I said Netflix, leave me alone.
I don't know who did it, but I was able to track down the IP address and realize that somebody. It's crazy what you could do with technology. Like it's sick.
Right. We talked about like going into like network defense. You could if you got to school for that and you got like trained to do it, you could probably figured out who did this Netflix, and you would know how to actually trace someone's IP.
Once I learned how to become a legal hacker, when I become a legal hacker, it's over. It's over for everybody.
That actually off air because I want to talk to you about that. All right, Terrance, let's wrap the show up. We got a hypothetical question we got to ask. It's a quick question in keeping with the episode. If you could go back in time and tell your past self one thing, not financially related, or not, you can't tell them to play a lottery or invest in Apple, but if you could give yourself like an actual piece of advice, like what would that piece of advice be?
Stay persistent and continue to keep your word. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by stay persistent is if If you like it or you're interested in it, continue to follow it through. Committed.
You mean like activities? Like if you're into basketball, like keep going.
If you're liking basketball, like stay with basketball, get good at it.
That's
You're not. Yeah, like you don't got to be great. You don't got to achieve everything. But if you're into it, be into it. Learn as much as you can about it. Gather as much as you can about it. And keep your eyes on the prize and follow your gut too. Like a lot of times I was right about a lot of things in life. I remember coming home from school one time and telling my parents to buy gold socks. I have no idea what I was talking about.
Gold.
I had no idea what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure my mother and father looked at me and was like, "What is he talking about?" Like,
but I watch some movie or something. Get out of here.
I was reading something in the newspaper and that was just like buy gold stock. Now, obviously, if I would have figured out how to do it by myself, we'd be doing this out of a freaking studio, like big studio right now,
We'd be right now.
But that's one of the things I would definitely give my younger self advice about. Like, just do it.
Those are both really good pieces of advice. Like, stick with, if you're interested in something, stick with it, and trust your gut. Fantastic. I actually agree. Trusting your gut. Listen, there are people who say like your gut is like definitely like an internal thing. You should kind of go with it. I actually agree. My gut is usually right, especially as an adult. I'm like, if I'm really feeling something, I gotta just stick with it. Like, stick with my gut tells me. So if I had a piece to tell my former self something, I think it would be trust your gut. I think I would steal a little bit of yours, but I think also it would be, I don't know, man. I don't know. What do I tell myself? I don't know. That's tough, actually. I should have probably thought about this since it was my question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would tell myself like to go. I wouldn't say go to school earlier, not necessarily, but I think I would tell myself. I don't know. I'm blanking right now, Terrance. I'm blanking.
I would say just if you're gonna say something about school, just follow through with it. I think a lot of times we got in our own way. Like once I figured out school was a business, I hated it.
Yeah, well, that's
I hated it. I was like, oh, I'm being taken advantage of.
Well, that's the great thing about I told you last week, I got financial aid, so ain't no one taking it.
Yeah.
Bro, that's them paying for it. Let them deal with that.
Yep.
I think I would tell myself to not waste so much time after I get out of high school to decide I want to do something, because I definitely spent I don't regret these things because I'm happy where I am in my life. But I did spend a few years just meandering around, like just living very basically, right? Like I had a job and I had friends and I lived and I didn't do anything special. And I wish I would have taken, if when I was like 23, 24, 25, I would have been like, what do I want to do? Let me really focus on doing it. And admittedly, there were things that were in my way at times, but realistically, dude, 2016, I could have started going to school. 2017, like I could have started going to school or just doing whatever I should have been doing. I didn't. So I guess I would tell myself not to waste so much time, use the time wisely. Not that I'm, not
for sure.
I think that's what I would say. So trust your gut and use your time wisely. Don't just waste it. That's it, man. I think that wraps up the episode. Unless you got anything else, dog.
No, man. I like where you took us today. I like where you took us.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's good reminiscing.
Coming up with some ideas. Now I was like, a lot of these are all similarly like what happened in the past. I was like, let's just do a throwback episode. Maybe I should have waited for episode 13 throwback, but I didn't think about that. What can you do? But yeah, I think it was a good episode. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to write in, tell us anything about anything we talked about, I guess. Anything you would tell.
Oh man, it'd be dope to hear from people.
Yeah, I bet people have crazier stories than we do. Our stories, I mean, my story is a little crazy about the whole porn thing, but I bet people have some nuts stories. So listen, the Gray Area podcast.
The fact that you were riding around with a pedophile.
He wasn't. He's not. He was fine. I don't know why. I'm 30 now. I wouldn't be driving around with some fucking 13-year-old kids with a fucking. I mean, it's also a different time. That was like in 2002 when there was no one had phones with them everywhere they went. No one had video cameras everywhere they went. Like you could get away with things like that. Whereas now, it's like
Michael Jackson was saying,
if someone tried to do that right now, they'd be filmed, put on the internet, arrested. Like
no, for the kids.
Oh God, we got to end this before it gets worse. The Gray Area Podcast at gmail.com. Gray with an A. Yeah, that's it.
Oh man, you could have been anywhere in the world, people, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good night.